congratulations in order. This top 10 album Aces High. How does it feel to reach another milestone on this incredible journey you've been on?
Yeah, it's very surreal.
Yeah, very surreal.
Along with all the other kind of milestones, it's really it's really difficult to get our heads around, but amazing at the same time. We're really chuffed. Yeah, it's amazing.
So describe the moment then. You're sat there, you know the album's coming out, it's been out for a couple of days, and back in the day, back in the 70s, whatever, the only way people used to know how well their album had sold is when they used to sit and listen to the Radio 1 Top 40 album chart. But you get midweek updates now. So what were you doing when did the phone ring? Was Peter on the phone saying, "Here, you guess what's happening? It's going brilliantly." What were you doing?
No, well, like you say, we were waiting for the midweek updates, and we were waiting, like trying to refresh the public website, and then we received an email from somebody saying, "Congratulations, guys, you're number 4 in the midweeks." and we were like,
that was in the morning.
Really?
Yeah.
And so we were like, we can't ask him where he's seen it because we're going to look really unprofessional. And then we got another message saying, "Congratulations, guys, we've just seen that you're," because obviously they're industry people who've got the login to see where things are sitting. And then when it was published, we were number 6 in the midweeks, and that
was in the afternoon. So we thought, well, that's it. Then, isn't it?
Found that literally, then we're probably not going to stay in the top 10, but thankfully we kept getting daily updates from different people. But it was really like trying to just hustle, just trying to find out where.
I love it. So go on then. Did you celebrate? You've got to be honest here. Any splashing out been done? Any visits to the Range Rover showroom?
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But we were actually, our celebration was that we were going to be going to Iceland today.
Yeah.
But then a volcano that's going to erupt, and the town we were going to has been evacuated, so we're not in Iceland.
So we didn't make it.
Yeah.
And just to explain to people, that isn't you going on a trip to Iceland, the shop, to stock up. So the recording process this time round, you're into your 4th album. So when you entered the studio, were your ideas clearer this time about what you wanted and how things were going to pan out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we went in there really knowing what we were going to do this time round with like no restrictions. We really felt like we wanted a different sound as well, a little bit more rocky and things like that. So yeah, we was a bit more experimental as well, weren't we? So
yeah, we definitely went in with a different view on what sort of guitar tones we wanted for sure.
Yeah.
And it was almost like this album was kind of finished before we went in the studio, and now of course we've worked with our producer for so many records, and he tours with us now. We really don't have to, like, there's not a lot of need to communicate what we want. He kind of just gets it straight away, so it was a lot easier to sort of get there quickly this time.
Yeah, I think it's clear from a previous quote you said when you said, well, before we held back on being a bit too rocky, and this time we created what we wanted to hear without any restrictions on ourselves.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
totally. And I think it's a bit of an evolution, as in with the first album, We Fly Free, we were very much still finding our feet, and we're proud of all the records, and it's kind of where you're at that time as well. But we've been touring a lot more now, so we're just leaning into the rockier stuff because it's kind of what we want to play on the stage as well.
But at the same time, we're not losing anything that we've done before in the regard of like the blues feelings and things like that we're influenced. Americana and that sort of thing as well. And the ballads, totally. So we're still heavily influenced. You know, we're not going away from anything that we don't want to. If you know what I mean, it's like
absolutely. It's another interesting quote you actually made was when you said that we believe it's commonplace to put boundaries and limitations on yourself before you'd had a chance to dream. So where you are now, then, the boundaries and limitations are gone.
No, I don't think they are. I think that have gone. I mean, like right from the small ones to. Yeah, there's just so many, like even when we first said, right, let's go full time, let's get the van, let's go doing as many gigs as we can, and it was like, no, we can't do that. Like, we need to know we've got money coming in, and So, and then it translates into like the recording process of like just believing in our creative vision without like the little doubts creeping in. And we're so much stronger, and we've got such a stronger vision than we did have, but there's definitely way more we can do.
You said about the music you wanted psychedelic choruses to sweep the listener up in harmony, and that again is very evident.
Yeah, I think in particular with Infected, that was always like we wanted that to be like a very atmospheric psychedelic choruses, and it just kind of flow along. That was one of those that was...
It was kind of like it was the voice within type of thing, wasn't it, with the psychedelic chorus in Infected?
Yeah.
For sure. You know, what you think you're being told, or maybe what you are being told kind of thing, and it's all like what your brain processes, and Yeah.
It's funny because you said that you wanted Infected to be the indicator of where the album was about to take you.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think because it was the first song we wrote as well, I think.
It was, yeah.
So, it was like the first song we wrote, which just had such a strong vision for how we wanted it. And that was one I do remember when we first went in the studio and we was trying to convey that to Adam, and like we want it even more like, you know, like trying to express how we wanted it to work. So and I think what hopefully we've done with the album is we've kind of switched it around so that we're still evolving, but we still sound like us.
Absolutely.
And we've still got the key element like the mandolin and the harmonies and stuff in there. So hopefully we're not coming away from...
And the riffs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's a case of it might give you a hint of where it was going to take you, but there's plenty I thought that was maybe not expected. Standout tracks. I think Seen It All Before, which I love that gospel feel that was somehow blended in there. How did you manage to incorporate that into the overall feel of the songs? Not easy, but you made it just sound so tremendously natural. The thing to do.
Well, that's good. As long as I'm glad it sounds natural. It did feel natural, and one of the reasons we ended up with a choir on this album as well was our producer had just worked on another album, and they'd used a gospel choir, and it was so good. Yeah. It was so cool, and unfortunately, our budget couldn't extend to this choir, but what actually in the end was far more authentic to us was we got in lots of our friends and Ad's friends who were really talented, got them in a church and just sung the parts, just learnt them on the day, and it ended up feeling much more actually like us because it sort of
I think like when we heard that gospel choir that he'd been working with previously with someone else, and it was already in our head then. It was like, oh, we could do something like this, and then all of a sudden like you write toward that slightly as well. So yeah.
Well, what do you think it is about rock bands and blues? Whenever a choir or anything gospel is included, immediately the whole thing is upscaled to, it's like an event rather than just a song.
Totally, yeah. There's just, you can't really get more epic than a gospel choir, can you? I think it's just...
Said foreigner.
Yeah, and we kind of wanted to raise the bar. What we do with all the records, like we want to try and raise the bar.
And try and do different things as well, don't we?
Different. I couldn't say we'll do it again next time. We're not quite, our vision isn't quite, we're not quite there with the record yet. We're still focused on this one. But I dare say it will be something different that we'll have our heart fixed on by the time we get in the studio.
And that's one of the good things about it, is the fact that every album that we've done so far relates to where we are at the time and how we're feeling and creatively. So that's really cool.
And the other track, Golden. Now, there's all sorts of emotions going on here. I remember I was in a gym listening to this when it first came out, and I'm thinking, your voice was beginning to crack at one point. And I thought, it's almost like a tear-inducing moment. So was that unexpected? I mean, I know the song was written about somebody, a particular person, but was that played in? Did you do that as part of the song, or was that something that you were actually feeling? You know, when that moment in the song where you you could tell. I thought, God, she's crying.
Well, I am like the most highly emotional person you'll probably so there's no acting required. No. And I actually was choked up when I was singing it, and I thought I'd got away with people not realising that I was choked up, because I remember actually saying to Ads, and I was like, Ads an hour and after, and yeah, so I didn't realise it was that obvious, but it was actually, when we wrote it, we were really emotional, because it was about a relationship that was coming to an end, and we were really sad about it.
Very sad.
So, so no, it's all there.
I think that we like to do as well, in we write about emotional things, and we literally carry our hearts on our sleeve with everything that we do. So yeah, even in the recordings. Yeah, literally.
Does the person you wrote that song about know that they're a subject of a song on the album?
No.
They do now. We create, well, it's funny actually, because you've said we create what we feel at the moment. So that fits in perfectly, doesn't it? You talked as well about I like this, the genre police, telling you where you can go and what you can do. Has there really been a measure of that? I mean, you're 4 albums into a career. It's like 4 years. You seriously have people saying, well, you can't do this. This is what you have to do.
I don't think it's saying you can't do this, but it's saying you are no longer blues.
You're not authentic.
You're not rocky enough. Yeah. And I mean, there's so many positive comments and stuff that comes through, and I don't even know if it's necessarily meant as a negative thing. But I think why it happened quite strongly for us was because we've won Blues Band of the Year 3 years in a row. Amazing. And then, of course, because our recordings have evolved into a more rocky sound, there was definitely, I think, a bit of pushback from like a handful of people, where then they don't feel that you should sit in that category.
Which is a real shame. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, everybody likes different things. I mean, it would be a boring world if we all liked the same things. But at the same, the blues flows through us, and it always has done from the start. And like with the riffs, the blues notes, and all sorts of things that we incorporate into our music, because it's just us, but also we have a very strong rocky element to us as well, that we've always loved rock, haven't we? So it's a difficult thing. I don't think you can possibly say, oh, you're rock, oh, you're not rock, you're blues, you're not blues, you're rock type thing. I think there's such a fusion of different elements. I mean, also like with the Americana side of things that we sing about in this style, it's a fusion of music.
And it's like, well, there is no way that we're in the studio thinking, oh, we need to be more bluesy, or that needs to be more rocky because we need to fit in this category. Like we aren't going to do that.
No.
Well, what was it? I think you've been fairly clear again with that when you were talking about. You said we like repetition and riffs. We like something that you can really grab hold of, and it's blues rock.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah,
and your music is progressing. Yeah, you're saying you're finding your own sound even more now. And it's like, it was like a really sort of forthright statement. This time we're clear. So this album then is the template moving forward to where you're going.
Oh, I don't think so.
Well,
no? Left turn coming.
You never know. The next album could be an acoustic album.
Well, I'm really keen to, just as a one-off, it's not even saying we are now going to be an acoustic band, but I'm vibing a lot of acoustic albums at the moment. I'm well into Fleetwood Mac and like a bit of a different vibe. Yeah. So we might just do a little side, I'm really inspired to just go in the studio and do something a bit different.
Yeah.
But,
well, one of the great things about being independent is that basically you control everything. Yeah. But will it not be the case that you will arrive at a point where the success generates more interest from more major players, and in order to get greater financial reward, you would have to sacrifice some of the control that you had? Would that be a sacrifice that you'd take?
Well, kind of nicely, we're already in that position where we
and have been for the last year or so.
Yeah, there are offers that we could take, but we're just we're just really happy with how we're doing things. We've got our own team that we're working really hard to build, and I would definitely say it's not the easiest way to do it. It's probably the hardest way to do it, but we get to keep creative control over everything, and also like quality control of you know, if people are investing in us and our music and enabling us to keep creating music, we want to make sure even that their t-shirt is right, and that we care if they get a proper response to things, and like it matters.
Or if the CD doesn't turn up or something, you know, it's just like we'll deal with that and we'll sort that out for you.
Instantly, straight away, drop an email, it's done, and we know that our team will sort it out in a way we want it sorted out, and we just don't think we can trust anyone else.
and to go somewhere into a recording studio and record to music that you really feel strongly about, because we only ever record stuff we feel strongly about. And have on the back
of your mind that someone might not like it.
And if they don't like it, they say, no, you've got to re-record it. No, that's just not
it's
for us.
It's going to spoil it for us. It would totally spoil it. Yeah.
It's a refreshing attitude, I have to say. It really is. But has the phone been ringing more after the release of the last album? Have the emails, the inbox has been growing, the phone's been going more?
It has. I think, I think the top 10 thing, it's shocked a few people, and it shocked us. So it's amazing. I think it's definitely, we always knew that, you know, there's certain things that will help you in the industry for like to give you some little step ups and step ins to different places. We couldn't go like certain gigs and promoters and stuff. So I think what it evidences is that we've got such an amazing fan base, and know that anyway, but it's just kind of showing it to everyone else, and we that's why we can do it, and why we can choose to stay independent is because of that.
And what a time we live in, really. I mean, where we can actually do that, you know, anyone.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because when you talk to, and I get this with a lot more established stars of the last 40 or 50 years, you know, like the classic rock generation, the real classic rock generation, they all bemoan today's, you know, Spotify and all this, you know, we don't get any money and we can't do this and we can't do that. Yet when we move to the younger generation, i.e. your generation that is in the industry now, they're saying it's an opportunity. Yeah, we can go and do a Facebook Live tonight if we want. We can put a track out on Spotify if we want. We can actually do anything that we want. And it is all a huge global opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's there's two sides to every coin, isn't there? Like there's definitely pluses and minuses, but we know we wouldn't be able to do things the way we do it without the internet and without different ways that we can find people that potentially will like our music. But yeah, there's two sides, but equally, how many thousands of songs get uploaded onto Spotify every day?
Yeah, you can get
a lot.
But it's like, you know, it's you just keep plugging away, and I guess it
is what it is, you know. And I think you have to adapt with the times, don't you? And I mean,
there's no point fighting it. I don't think.
Yeah, you can't.
Well, it's not going to go backwards, is it? Let's be honest. You did mention, talking about the new album. You quite like the idea of a collaborative approach. You're keen to work with new people. Is that musically? Were you talking about in terms of writing songs, or is that working together as artists?
Well, I think we're far more open generally than we were to things before. So, like with the first album, you know, we've pretty much written all of our songs, us two, and there's a few where maybe 4 or 5 on our albums that our producers had so much input. He's got a songwriting. You know, he's brought in on the songwriting too.
Yeah.
I think maybe some of that is like where we are is a little bit scared to sort of open up and work with other people. To a certain extent, we're opening up to that possibility of like collaborations, and also as we're getting friends now in the industry, it's really nice because we sort of talk about, join me on this record, and so that's really nice. So we're definitely trying to be more open and a bit braver.
Now, when you look back on this 4 incredible years as When Rivers Meet, or a bit longer than that, you've enjoyed outstanding successes, recognition. There has been, well, not that I can see anything negative that has been written about you at all. But as we know, the media is quick to turn. You know, how do you think you would deal with negative comment, or say you released an album and someone said, "Well, this isn't very good, is it?" I mean, you've been in this. It's not like a bubble, but you've never had anything negative said about you, really. So has it actually built to a stage where you think, hey, this is easy, we've cracked this, everything we do is fabulous?
No, not at all. We don't think that necessarily. I think dealing with negativeness, we try not to involve ourselves with any kind of negativity, do we?
Yeah, and sort of even like online, because you obviously there are, you know, you do get the comments from like people, I don't like that sort of woman. I got one the other day.
I don't like that sort of woman. What's that?
Yeah, we get the odd ones, and they do stick in your mind. Yeah. But I think when it comes to the actual like industry critiques, I think when we put the first album out, we were very unsure of ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I remember being in the studio and saying to Aaron, I think we need to work out if we need some sort of PR or something. So I think this is going to be really good. And, you know, we've got albums that we've put out before and EPs that nobody will ever hear because
they were awful.
We don't like them. Said, why don't you re-release that your actual debut album, because a lot of people would buy it, and we're like, we don't like it, so we're not going to.
Yeah, but it's part of the luxury box set, isn't it? The career-spanning box set comes next.
And I think, and so even more so, like with Saving Grace, and then now with Aces Are High, we before were waiting for the reviews to come in to read what people were saying, and this time we were like weirdly kind of like, we read them when they came in, we're like, oh, that's really nice, but we knew that we were happy with it, and we needed less justification and less evidence from other people.
And I think it's always the case with us. We will never put anything out that we don't think that we like. That if we don't like it, if we really don't love it, shall we say, we just won't put it out there. So if we love it, then it's fair enough.
And it's like, you know, music's so subjective to us. If we really, really enjoy it and we love it, then, you know, that's all we can do.
But what would you do if you had a record company exec? And I'll give you a couple of examples of this. Grand Funk Railroad were an American band. Bachman Turner Overdrive, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. Did this piece with Randy Bachman a couple of years ago. He said, you know, we were sat in the room doing playback with the record company, and they're just sort of nodding, saying, yeah. We haven't got a single here. This album doesn't have a single. And they said, well, we got this throwaway track. And Bachman saying, I'm not putting that. I can't put that. I was just joking, because you know the stutter bit in it where he says baby. Right? He was basically taking the mickey out of who had a speech impediment.
Oh.
So, and he said, I'm not putting that out. I'm not putting that out. And they're saying it's a hit. So if you had somebody that listened back to one of those and said, you're not actually seeing this here, it really is very good, would you allow somebody else's opinion to dictate?
Well, I think that that's a very hard question to answer.
In the past, we did write a song, and someone, again, like one person particularly believed in it and said we should re-record it, and we did, and we still hated it, and we didn't put it out. So, I think if we believe in it, even if, like with the album, when we take the album to PR and we'll say, what ones do you think are the singles, we will go with them, because we believe in all the songs anyway, so we don't mind they go out in. But that is brave if you don't like it at all, especially if it's not like you, if it doesn't feel authentic, then probably.
So looking back on this 12 months then, it's been an incredible year, multiple tours, headlines and support. You've been front cover of the music press. That was a great front cover, by the way, that you did. It was a fantastic one. You've done Blues Cruise with Joe Bonamassa, the Top 10 album. What's given you the most enjoyment or the most pleasure out of all of those things?
Wow.
I think Miles Samwise Top 10 album. I think
that's got to be it. Yeah, cherry on the top. Yeah, top 10 album, I think, for sure.
There was a little bit of
having faith in what we do and what we love to do. So
I think there's been a little bit of insecurity of with music industry. You always feel like you always have to have like a real strong momentum. Otherwise, you can be perceived as though you're not going anywhere. And I think that was particularly sort of playing on my mind, especially because we're choosing to stay independent. So there's not like a massive jump. You can't see, something's not happening.
Yeah, I get it.
And so I think having the top 10 has made me feel a little bit calmer.
Not that we haven't had the opportunity to be signed, to say that, but because we have had.
It's nice to sort of, like we've got that, and it feels like no one can take it away, and I just feel a little bit calmer about where we're, where things are at. So probably the top 10 for me.
I agree. Yeah, I think so as well. Because I can't think.
And the future, you got a headline tour booked next April and May. Now here's the thing. What about the thought of a live album?
Oh, well, we already have one live album. We're putting another one out next month.
Yeah.
Oh, are you? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And then the next new album. So what have you got planned? So you've got the tour planned, and then the summer, presumably you'll be doing some festivals. You're going to be touring Europe as well. And any chance of heading to the States?
Yeah, we've got headline shows and festivals in Europe. And then we're very much hoping to go to the States. Yeah. We've got some opportunities, but we're kind of trying to pace ourselves a little bit, as in everything is like such a logistical learning curve.
Yeah.
We're waiting to see about the States next year.
Yeah. But if we don't do it next year, then it certainly will be the year after for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.